Maybe. So just a quick update to let you know that I picked up Lena's mom. So we picked her up at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So she needed quite a lot of time to cross the border. She told us that the car which brought her next to the border needed 6 hours just to drive 60 kilometers, which is quite a lot. As you can imagine, now we are in the middle of Poland. As you can see, there are also some nice things to eat. But we won't eat. I was just driving now since 2 o'clock in the afternoon, sorry. So I've been driving for 2.5 hours already. We're on the way to go to this place where my mother-in-law is located. It's this Shedishov. And we should arrive there at around 6:30. After that, we are going to spend the night here because I called my wife so that she books a hotel, and since it's much further from the border, she was able to find a hotel even with 2 rooms. So let's wait and see what's going to happen next. And let's continue. Hi, so it's me again. It's 6:30. Just a quick update to tell you that we managed to catch her. She's just waiting in this building. It's a beautiful building, by the way, with a swimming pool inside, a football pitch. Whew, it was hard. It's nights much faster than in France. I mean, the sun rises earlier, but sets also earlier. But everything's fine, and we followed the hotel by. Okay, so let's make a brief recap. I departed on Friday evening at 9. I arrived on Saturday at 5 p.m. in Medica, which is the last village before the border with between Poland and Ukraine. Then I picked up my wife's friend Elena plus her son. Unfortunately, her mom and my mother-in-law weren't in the same place, so we needed to find a hotel. Everything was overbooked, so we had to drive back to Rezhov. So it was 1.5 hour drive until we reached Rezhov, and even there everything was booked. We were very lucky to find a hotel. Then we departed the next morning quite early, at 8 I would say, and we went to Budomierz, which was another border between Poland and Ukraine, where Elena's mom was supposed to be, but unfortunately she was a bit later than expected, so I had plenty of time to visit the refugee camp there. Then, after that, her mom finally came at 2 in the afternoon. She told me that she had to stay in a huge queue. So first of all, she came there by car. So it's a car which brought her until the border. And the car needed 6 hours to drive just 60 kilometers. And once the car was at the border, she had to go out of the car. And she needed to wait almost 4 hours to cross the border on foot. So we picked her up at this moment, and we drove until Shedishov, because my mother-in-law, for, well, I don't want to say no reason, because the other camps were probably full, but she was sent in the middle of Poland. Just to give you an idea of how many refugees there might be, there wasn't enough place next to the border, so she was sent to Shedishov, and this Shedishov is located, I would say, 50 or 100 kilometers north of Krakow, next to Jedrzejów, where we are now, because once I picked up my mother-in-law, we all went together to a hotel which is called Potoczki Dwór. Potoczki Dwór, it's next to Jedrzejów. We spent a good night here, had a sleep, we could rest, and now it's time to head home for something which is going to be probably quite long too, because let's expect between 15 and 20 hours. I would say 18. 18. So if we depart at 18 in the morning, now it's 7, we'll have breakfast, snidanok. So if we depart at 8, we should arrive approximately at 2, maybe even 3 in the morning. As you can imagine, the most difficult will probably also be the future. Well, maybe not that much for the elderly people, so Elena's mom or my mother-in-law, because they're already retired, but for Elena, with her son, we talked together and she really hoped she would be able to find an apartment for herself a bit later. Of course, at first she will be hosted by one of our friends. We will host my mother-in-law. Her mom will also be hosted by one of her neighbors, so that's not a problem. But on the long term, as you can imagine, it's going to be quite difficult for all of them because they need to adapt. It's something we shouldn't forget. She doesn't speak the language at all. So she has to learn the language, she has to find a job, she has to find a place to live in, so this is a real change. Well, unless the situation improves very fast and she's able to come back home, which everybody hopes, of course. But right now, as you can imagine, they live a bit one day after another, one day after another, so they take the things day by day because they have no other option. Here at this hotel, the food was excellent. The beds were also very good quality. I don't know how much my wife paid because she made the reservation, but it was probably cheaper than in Rezhov. I could check on the internet. So, well, I have the impression that in Rezhov, since it was the very last room, they really took advantage of the situation. But I don't want to come back on this situation. It can happen. And regarding the funny thing which happened to us in Rezhov is that after a while, when we couldn't find an apartment, we even, or hotel, sorry, we contacted a hotel and we asked, but what can we do? And then she asked, but are you Ukrainian? But I didn't dare to say yes because I'm not, even though I speak the language. But Yelena and her son are Ukrainians and they are refugees. So she said, give me the phone, give me the phone. And she said, yeah, we're all Ukrainians. So she sent us to another shelter, so-called shelter. But the problem is that when we reached it, it was closed and there were some weird guys waiting outside. So we didn't even want to stay in the area. And yeah, so this is what happened. But finally everything's fine. And now let's just hope for the best for the world and for the future for them. Slava Ukraini.
Video. Yeah, just so that people can see with whom I traveled.
Yes.
Okay. Well, your child is sleeping now or having a rest.
Yes, it was really difficult to make it.
Oh, but it's not the end yet. Don't be too optimistic. The
Thanks
travel
a lot
is still long.
for here. At least not in Ukraine, that's already good. So,
Oh, that's normal.
Наш спаситель.
our savior. Right.
No, that's normal, that's normal.
That's it.
After what you had to go through,
That's indeed. That's all things that are happening.
Всю жизнь будем помнить и благодарить.
Oh, let's hope.
Можеш не
We'll
сумніватися.
have the chance. We'll remember all our
Все
lives.
життя будемо пам'ятати.
we will.
Нижче Україну. Отак, приклад.
Слава Україні!
Не закривай
Героям
обличчя.
слава!
Обличчя не
Yeah,
закривай.
yeah, yeah.
Україна моя земля!
Серце.
Great.
Серце
Груди.
так!
Great, thank you. That's it? Yeah?
Yeah, that's it.